I think probably the biggest validation we got there was when we went to MIT Sloan and we presented the paper. We were really excited to submit our paper there and then ultimately win best paper in show. A lot of times, even when we told people our idea at first, is that really gonna be possible? What are all the negatives you're gonna face? Are you gonna be able to change the way camera operators do it to get the stability needed? And I think a sort of stubbornness on our part just forced us to really push through.
I don't know how Ellie and I really struck this balance, but frequently we would just connect 2 keyboards and 2 mice, and we just kind of like knew when it was like our turn to just like take over and stuff.
Yeah, I think we would finish each other's semicolons.
Well, one of my favorite quotes that I first heard Kobe Bryant say was, "Friends hang sometimes, banners hang forever." And I think it's just always been a motivating factor in terms of how we think about what we're trying to do and build and achieve.
We're Slants, and we convert game film into analytics. And this is our hustle.
We like programming, we're nerds. Like we like the analytics side of football. And then also like we love football. So, just combining those 2 things is kind of just a passion that drives us forward.
Slants is an AI-based player tracking system that works entirely off of video. So without any wearables or special cameras, we use existing All-22 film to identify and locate a player and track them as they move throughout that football field and determine things like speed, acceleration, distance traveled, and all sorts of other metrics that teams want to use for scouting.
We're here at a local football field. We brought some high school football players and we're going to test Slants player tracking today.
So when we talk about camera placement, we try to get as many things in the field as possible. That includes sidelines, yard markers, yard lines, hash mark groups, and everything. And that just helps us increase our chances of getting a strong positional analysis to get players on a 2D field.
We're at the top of the bleachers. We have a pretty good angle on the field vertically, and then we're trying to get a wide spread of as much of the field as possible.
This video is going to come in at a very angled plane. And so what we do is we account for the pan, tilt, and zoom of the camera. And when we translate that to the computer, we want to put that on a 2D coordinate space.
We basically started it because we love football, honestly. When we started, it was pretty nascent and it wasn't clear where it would go. And then there was a sort of idea of like that data is proprietary, first party, stats nerds and NFL nerds that are like us that just want to analyze football. We weren't able to access it. So what we were doing was like a way to basically democratize that data.
It really started just as a project because we thought it was fun and we thought, yeah, it might be an opportunity to help get in front of NFL teams. But once we started working on the project, making a lot of progress, and then submitting and being accepted into the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference, from there, a meeting with all these NFL guys, talking to them about what their needs were, and they all mentioned, if you can do player tracking for college players, we would buy that from you. More and more, we're thinking about other opportunities, specifically within football. We've been thinking a lot about what does it look like to do player tracking for college data for college teams, right? So the ability to then understand things like game planning in a better way and understand, this corner that we're going up against, let's say I'm Alabama and we're playing LSU next week. If I know that corner is only gonna hit 19.5, 20 miles per hour, but I know I got a couple of receivers who are gonna hit over 21, it's a good opportunity to help think about game planning and scheming and getting those guys open. At the high school level, we're thinking about it from the individual standpoint, right? So right now, in terms of getting a verified 40 time or any sort of those types of metrics, you have to either drive or fly out to one of those camps, or you have to get invited by a college to then go get your times. Instead of that whole process and whatever that looks like, go to your local field, have your buddy go up in the stands, record you running a 40, and we'll be able to develop all those times, all those other analytics off of that video.
Thank you guys for coming out today. We had a great time.
So we're going to take the video, process it, and get you back with some stats later tonight.
Yeah, everything like top speed, acceleration, distance traveled, separation, all that good stuff. So help you guys get recruited.
It was almost serendipitous that we chose football because a lot of the markers on the field, the way the stands are positioned, is pretty advantageous to a technology like ours, where we can get as close to a bird's eye view, which would kind of be ideal for our technology, but more realistically from the stands, and then kind of calibrate the entire field to be able to draw like a sort of play card, like a 2D version of it, like you might see in Madden. you'll see us, our basically our output of where we think they are on the field, basically as an XY, like sort of yards from the sidelines and then yards from the end zone. And then this bottom left is just us kind of tracking them throughout the play.
The Senior Bowl reached out to us to see if we could incorporate our player tracking technology into what they're outputting, their videos, their practices, and their game. So we just got done with this process about a month ago or so. The Senior Bowl, we were looking at every single player. So it's kind of a taller order than what we typically do, especially as a result of COVID. It's been a big opportunity to get film on some of these players who haven't played a lot of college football in the last year. So it's a good opportunity to see, how do these guys actually rate, how do they run, and especially now there's no centralized NFL combine. I think we see a few different use cases. I think there's definitely applicability at the league level as well as the team level for more of a scouting and recruiting lens. I think we're also thinking more about what the opportunities are from a broadcast lens and things like that. When you're watching a game on TV and you get to see a player's speed in miles per hour, it just provides a nice touch. It's pretty interesting to kind of be able to contextualize how fast is this player going versus a guy in a professional league somewhere, or even like a professional sprinter, right? Or like Usain Bolt or someone.
And the digital combine, like I think Omer mentioned, is another big place where we feel like the technology scales past just the traditional team data model, where we really want to like engender a change in the industry about like how players feel like they are evaluated, and like in terms of fairness and in terms of access to being scouted at all. I think our hustle is obvious in like the way we run the business. Like we all have full-time jobs, and so basically this is all just after work. We're working from 5 to 12 all the time, every day of the week, whenever we can.
I always think of deadlines and getting in front of people, right? So I think there's been countless times where we've been faced with hard deadlines and kind of getting in front of specific people, whether it's at the league level or the team level, and needing to figure things out, and just putting in the time and effort that goes into that, right?
Jokingly, I'm the head of accounting at Slants. I know nothing about accounting, just opening a bank account, having to pay taxes and stuff. I mean, you gotta just learn a lot of stuff that you normally just really wouldn't ever think about.
I think one of the things that always keeps me motivated is seeing the progress. When we first started a couple years ago, we had done some very light player recognition, player tracking. We started to see progress, every month. That turned into every week we're seeing something new. And then it was like every single day we're rolling out some new feature or new thing that we're looking at or thinking about a new opportunity. Being part of that progress every single day, it just gets you excited to keep working on it and keep building upon that.
There's still so much innovation left to do. Ollie's advice to me was always just take that leap and just do it, just start it. There's really not much to lose. Maybe a little bit of time, but it's worth it.
Thanks for watching our episode of My Hustle.
To see more from Whistle, click subscribe.